For 5 years, every day looked exactly the same alarm, the same coffee, the same train, the same office, the same tired face in the mirror. I thought that was normal. I thought that was life. Wake up, work, come home, sleep, repeat. And maybe if I was lucky, something interesting would happen on the weekend, but it never did. Then one Tuesday morning, someone sat in my seat. And that small moment changed everything, not in one day, not in 1 week, but little by little, it changed my life. And the strange part, she never even tried. Tonight's story is about routines, about second chances, and about the people who enter our lives when we need them most. Even if they don't stay for very long, welcome to AmigoLang. Get comfortable, take a deep breath, and let's begin. My name is Daniel. I'm 29 years old, and until last year I lived the same day over and over again. Every morning my alarm rang at exactly 6:15. Not 6:14, not 6:16, 6:15. I would press snooze once, only once. Then I would get up, walk to the kitchen, make coffee, the same coffee, in the same blue mug, every single day. After that, I would put on my jacket and walk to the train station. I knew the route so well that sometimes I arrived without remembering the walk. Have you ever done that? Have you ever been so deep in your thoughts that your body arrives before your mind? That was my life. Everything was automatic. The same streets, the same buildings, the same people, the same train. And every morning I sat in the same seat. Third row, next to the window. It wasn't officially my seat, nobody owned it, but after 5 years it felt like mine. The train left at exactly 7:02, and every day I watched the city wake up through that window, people running, coffee shops opening, dogs being walked, the world moving, while I stayed exactly the same. At least, that's what I thought. It happened on a rainy Tuesday, nothing special about that morning, at least not at first. I arrived at the station, bought my coffee, boarded the train, and walked toward my usual seat. Then I stopped. Someone was sitting there, a woman, maybe 30 years old, dark hair, a green coat, a book in her hands. She looked comfortable, like she belonged there. I stood there for a moment, not because I wanted the seat, because I didn't know what to do. It sounds ridiculous now. But when your life follows the same routine for years, even a small change feels important. The woman looked up. She noticed me. Then she smiled. A calm, friendly smile. "Was this your seat?" she asked. I laughed. "No." She looked around. "Then I guess we're both safe." I smiled for the first time that morning, and somehow that small conversation stayed with me, much longer than it should have. The next morning I saw her again. Same train, same seat, same book. This time I sat across from her. For a few minutes neither of us said anything. The train moved quietly through the city. Rain touched the windows. People stared at their phones. The world felt half asleep. Then she closed her book. "What are you reading?" I asked. She looked surprised. Then she smiled. "A book about habits." "Sounds exciting." She laughed. "It isn't." That's what I thought. For a moment, we were both laughing. And something felt different. Not dramatic, not life-changing, just different. The kind of different that makes an ordinary morning feel a little brighter. "What about you?" she asked. "What do you mean?" "What are you reading?" I looked at my phone. "The weather forecast." She laughed again. "No, seriously." I thought about it. The truth was simple. I hadn't read a book in almost 2 years. I worked, I came home, I watched videos, I slept. Then I repeated everything again. I'm not reading anything, I admitted. She nodded slowly, like she already knew. What about hobbies? I shrugged. What about dreams? I laughed. What about them? She looked out the window. The city was passing by behind the rain. Then she asked something strange. When you were 10 years old, what did you want to become? I wasn't expecting that. Nobody asks questions like that. Not on a train, not before 8 in the morning. I thought for a moment. Then I smiled. I wanted to be a photographer. A photographer? Yeah. What happened? I looked down. I didn't have an answer, or maybe I did. Work happened, bills happened, life happened. The train slowed down. Her station was next. She stood up, put her book inside her bag. Then she looked at me. You should buy a camera. I laughed. You make it sound easy. It is easy. Then she walked toward the door. Before leaving, she turned around. No, she smiled. Starting is easy. The train doors opened, and she disappeared into the crowd. But her words stayed with me all day. Starting is easy, starting is easy, starting is easy. I heard those words during meetings, during lunch, while driving home, and for some reason, I couldn't stop thinking about them. 3 days passed before I saw her again. Thursday morning. Same train, same rain, same city, but not the same Daniel. I had been thinking about our conversation all week, about photography, about habits, about the version of myself I used to know. She was already sitting by the window when I arrived. This time she wasn't reading, she was simply watching the city, like she was looking for something or remembering something. Good morning, I said. She smiled. Good morning. I sat down. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then she pointed toward the window. A man was walking his dog through the rain. The dog looked happier than the man. We both laughed. Can I ask you something? She said. Sure. She looked at me carefully. Not in a strange way, in a sincere way, like she actually cared about the answer. When was the last time you did something for the first time? I blinked. What? She repeated it, slowly. When was the last time you did something for the first time? I opened my mouth, then closed it. I didn't know. Honestly, I had no idea. I tried to think. Last month? No, last year, maybe 3 years ago. That sounded more realistic. The problem wasn't that I couldn't answer. The problem was that I couldn't remember being excited about anything new. And that realization hit me harder than I expected. She noticed. You don't have an answer, do you? No. That's okay. But it didn't feel okay, not really. For the rest of the train ride, her question followed me like a shadow. At work, I couldn't focus. I opened emails and forgot what I was reading. I attended meetings and remembered nothing. My mind kept returning to the same question. When was the last time you did something for the first time? That evening, I stopped at a small bookstore on my way home. I don't know why. I hadn't entered a bookstore in years. The smell of paper greeted me as soon as I walked inside. Old books, new books, stories, ideas, possibilities. I wandered through the shelves, without a plan, without a purpose. Then I found something. A photography book. Nothing special. Just photographs of ordinary people living ordinary lives. A woman reading on a train. A father holding his daughter's hand. A man standing alone in the rain. Simple moments. Beautiful moments. I stood there looking at those pages for almost 20 minutes. Then I bought the book. It wasn't a big decision, it wasn't life-changing, but it was new. And for the first time in a long time, new felt good. That night, instead of watching videos on my phone, I read just 30 pages. But it felt different, like opening a window in a room that had been closed for years. Before going to sleep, I looked at my reflection in the bathroom mirror and I asked myself something I hadn't asked in a very long time. What else have I stopped doing? The answer scared me. Because there were too many things, dreams, ideas, people, places, little pieces of myself, all waiting, all forgotten. And suddenly, I understood something. The routine wasn't the problem. The problem was that I had stopped growing inside it. The next morning, I woke up before my alarm. Not because I wanted to, I just couldn't stop thinking. About the question, about the bookstore, about the feeling I had when I bought that photography book. It was strange. Nothing extraordinary had happened. And yet, something felt different. I got out of bed, made coffee, used the same blue mug, walked the same streets, took the same train. But this time, I paid attention. Really paid attention. The baker opening his shop. The woman walking her dog. The old man feeding birds near the station. They had probably been there every day, but somehow I had never noticed them. I spent years looking at my phone and almost no time looking at my life. That morning I saw her again. She was smiling before I even sat down. "You look different," she said. I laughed. "It's been one day." "I know." "So how can I look different?" She shrugged. "You noticed something." I stared at her. "How do you know that?" "Because that's how it starts." The train moved quietly through the city. The rain was gone now. Sunlight touched the windows. People looked less tired, or maybe I did. "What are you reading?" she asked. I pulled the photography book from my bag. Her eyes widened. "You bought one." "I bought one," she smiled. And for some reason, I felt proud, like a child showing a drawing to a teacher. She opened the book, turned a few pages, then stopped. "This one?" She pointed to a photograph. A man standing alone at a bus stop. Nothing special. At least that's what I thought. "What about it?" I asked. She smiled. "Look longer?" So I did. 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15. Then I noticed it. The man's reflection. A small detail in the glass behind him. A completely different story hidden inside the picture. I looked up. She was watching me. "Most people never look long enough," she said. "At photos? At anything." The words landed softly, but they stayed with me. At anything. That afternoon, instead of driving home immediately, I walked. No destination, no plan, just walking. The city felt different at that speed. I passed a musician playing violin near a bridge. I watched children chasing pigeons. I heard conversations, laughter, life, so much life. And I realized something embarrassing. For years, I thought life had become boring. But maybe I'd stopped paying attention. That evening, I found my old camera. It was in a box at the back of a closet, covered in dust. The battery was dead. The strap was broken. It looked forgotten, just like the dream attached to it. I held it in my hands for a long time. Memories returned. I remembered being 17, walking around my neighborhood, taking photos of everything, sunsets, strangers, buildings, rain. Back then, I wasn't trying to be good. I was just curious. And somewhere along the way, I lost that curiosity. Not all at once. Little by little, year after year. Responsibility after responsibility, until one day, I forgot it was ever there. That night, I cleaned the camera. Slowly, carefully, like I was repairing something much bigger than a machine, and maybe I was. Maybe I was repairing a small piece of myself. Before going to sleep, I received a message. It was from an old friend. someone I hadn't spoken to in almost 3 years. The message was simple. Hey, how have you been? I stared at the screen. Normally, I would have answered tomorrow or next week or never. Instead, I replied immediately. And that tiny decision started another conversation, then another, and another. Funny how life works sometimes. One small change rarely stays small. It touches other things, and then those things touch other things, like ripples in water. All because one morning, someone sat in my seat. The following Monday, I arrived at the station a little earlier than usual. Not because I needed to, because I wanted to. The train arrived, the doors opened, I stepped inside, and immediately looked toward the window. Her seat. My seat. The seat that had started all of this. It was empty. I smiled to myself. Maybe she was late. I sat down and waited. At the next station, more people entered, but not her. At the next station, even more people came aboard, still not her. By the end of the journey, the seat across from me remained empty. I told myself it didn't matter. We weren't friends. I didn't know her last name. I didn't even know where she worked. But something felt strange, like a chapter ending before I was ready. The next day, I looked again. Empty. The day after that. Empty. A week passed. No green coat, no book, no smile, nothing. And little by little, I accepted that she wasn't coming back. Life moved forward, as it always does. But something unexpected happened. The changes stayed. I kept reading. I kept taking photographs. I kept talking to people. I kept saying yes to things I would normally avoid. One Saturday morning, I took my camera to a small park near the river. Children were playing, dogs were running, people were living ordinary lives. I spent 2 hours taking pictures. Not because I wanted to become a professional photographer, not because I wanted money, not because I wanted recognition. I did it because I enjoyed it, and I had almost forgotten what that felt like. While walking home, I passed a small bookstore, the same one I had visited a few weeks earlier. Without thinking, I walked inside. The owner recognized me. "You came back," she said. "I guess I did." She smiled. Then she handed me something, a small piece of paper. "Someone left this for you." I frowned. "For me?" She nodded. "She described you perfectly." My heart skipped a beat. I looked at the paper, folded once, nothing written on the outside. Slowly, I opened it. Inside, there was a short message, just one sentence. The handwriting looked familiar, very familiar. It said, "Thank you for finally waking up." I stared at the words, again and again. Then I laughed. A quiet laugh, the kind that comes from understanding something important. I never saw her again. Not on the train, not in the city, not anywhere. And maybe that's okay. Because looking back now, I don't think she entered my life to stay. I think she entered my life to remind me of something I had forgotten. That life isn't waiting for us somewhere in the future. Life is happening now, on ordinary mornings, on train rides, in bookstores, in conversations, in small decisions, and sometimes the biggest changes begin with the smallest moments, a different seat, a simple question, a forgotten dream, or a stranger who appears at exactly the right time. Today, my alarm still rings. I still drink coffee. I still take the train. Many things are exactly the same, but I am not. And that has made all the difference. So tonight, before you sleep, I want to leave you with the same question she asked me. When was the last time you did something for the first time? Don't answer right away. Think about it. Maybe your answer is waiting for you tomorrow. Maybe it starts with something small. A phone call, a walk, a book, a conversation, or a decision you've been postponing for far too long. Whatever it is, I hope you find it. And if this story stayed with you tonight, if it made you think, smile, or remember something important, then perhaps it was meant for you. Thank you for spending this time with me. And if you'd like to hear more stories like this, stories that help you improve your English while exploring life, emotions, and the people we become, you already know where to find us. Until next time, sleep well, dear friend, and don't forget, tomorrow is a perfect day to begin something new. Good night.